M23 rebels, which is operating in DRC, backed by the Rwandan force, has now occupied the eastern region capital city, which is Goma. This was last night. Through the night, they have been fighting. M23 backed by the Rwandan force, and they have now occupied the regional capital. We will give you a detail on this one. Why Goma? What are the negotiations? Who condemned it? So the city of Goma is, of course, M23 have been fighting against the government of DRC for the past 10 years, in fact, since 2012. So that's more than 10 years. The reason is this eastern region of DRC is rich in mineral resources. It is the richest resource. The richest resource is found in DRC, in the eastern part of the country, and that's why they are fighting to occupy this region. Now, the Rwandan government have been backing, this is not even a secret, the M23 rebels, and the United Nations have been condemning this, even before it reached to this point, but the Rwandan government kept on denying it. But now I think it seems that it reached to the point that where no more Paul Kagame can deny this, because the peacekeeping mission that's operating in DRC have witnessed that it's the Rwandan force who crossed the border and actually now occupying together with M23, the rebels, occupying the Goma, and not only Goma, but all the towns in the eastern region of DRC. So far, in terms of negotiation, different parties from the continent and outside the continent have tried, but this was not successful. For example, from the continent, the government of Angola wanted to negotiate, but the Rwandan government has declined it. As they say, Tshisekedi wanted to negotiate directly face-to-face with Paul Kagame because these rebels are backed by Rwandan government, but the government of Rwanda has denied it, and they wanted for Tshisekedi or the president of DRC to negotiate with the rebel leaders. But on the other hand, Tshisekedi said, no, these forces without the support of Rwanda are nothing. So we want to negotiate with those who are enabling the rebels. So that's why it failed. External actors who tried to negotiate, Turkey recently has tried, who seems that it has got its luck in terms of mediating, for example, in the eastern part of the continent, which is Ethiopia and Somalia. Now they think that also they might be successful with the DRC and Rwanda case. The Paul Kagame was recently in Turkey, but Tshisekedi, the president of DRC, has declined that. So these are the actors that have tried to negotiate or mediate between the two. Now, parties who have condemned this, so the United Nations Security Council have gathered urgently today to speak on, to talk on this crisis that's happening in the eastern part of DRC. The UN itself has condemned. Now they are Rwanda is in all this, is in spotlight. The United Nations has condemned it. The UK, US, who else, France, have all, and they seem to sideline now with DRC. From the continent, the Eastern African Community also has condemned it, the African Union as well, and the Eastern African Community, which is a regional bloc in which both countries, DRC and Rwanda, belong to, is going to has called an urgent meeting with the next 48 hours, and that is probably on Wednesday. And the current president of the bloc, William Ruto, also has spoken. I mean, 48 hours is long. We don't know what's going to happen until then. But what we know is yesterday, different parties have been, giving it an emphasis and putting Rwanda on spotlight, how the Rwandese forces really on desperate to occupy. They have been fighting through the night to occupy Goma. That is because they wanted to occupy it before the United Nations Security Council. So they have something now to negotiate, because now they have taken that regional capital. This is exactly what they wanted, and it's just going according to their plan. Another reflection is France, although now it is siding with DRC, so far it has been siding with Rwanda. If you all remember back in the summer, where was it in September this year, there was this organization of Francophone countries from the world that have gathered in Paris, and in that meeting, Rwanda was, DRC was part of it. Rwanda was a member, but after it has cut its ties with France, which is after the genocide in the 1990s, it has withdrawn from that organization. It's just recently its membership is restored, and the president of France, Macron, has invited both, and together with other members of the international Francophone countries, and the Tshisekedi wanted Macron to acknowledge and condemn Rwanda, for backing M23 rebels in DRC. But Macron didn't do that. In fact, they were, all, how do you say it, like lovey-dovey, and they were treating even especially Rwanda, and they were given the chairmanship of the year for the next 1 year, although they are not full member. They are still they were on observer status, and so Tshisekedi didn't like that, and he actually has walked out of the meeting. Now France in this United Nations Security Council is condemning Rwanda together with others. So they're just playing, this is a double standard of them. Whenever they want, they do. They just don't care for what's happening. First of all, I'm not even ruling out that whatever Macron, if he said this or said that it doesn't matter for DRC. What matters is for the two leaders to sit down and talk, and somebody has to humble down Paul Kagame of Rwanda, because nobody's saying anything against Rwanda, and we all know that now to the point where Rwanda even cannot deny the involvement of the Rwandan force backing M23 in DRC. This is, as the president of Rwanda, DRC called it, it's a declaration of war. What Rwanda is doing. Rwanda is basically invading DRC. On what basis you have your forces backing the rebels in the neighboring country? You cross the border and occupy, a major city, a capital of the region in that country. I mean, if this is not a declaration of war, I don't know what could it be. So I want to invite you to listen what the foreign minister of DRC said during the United Nations Security Council meeting. And also I will invite you to listen what William Ruto said in his statement as, representing the Eastern African community.
Mais ce combat ne se limite pas au champ de bataille. Plus de 3 millions de civils, ainsi que des humanitaires. Monsieur le Président, en cet instant même, alors que je me tiens devant vous, une attaque d'une gravité inouïe se déroule.
I don't know if you can read it. So the person, the foreign minister of DRC is saying, I'm speaking to you presently. An attack of unprecedented intensity is taking place in plain sight of
sous les yeux du monde. De nouvelles troupes rwandaises ont franchi les
additional Rwandan troops have crossed the
bornes 12 et 13 du poste frontalier séparant
boundary markers 12 and 13 of the border crossing between Goma and
de Gisenyi, pénétrant sur notre territoire en plein
and Gisenyi, penetrating into our, meaning DRC land, in broad daylight, in open and
jour, dans une violation ouverte et délibérée
in open and deliberate violation of our national sovereignty. It's a
de notre souveraineté nationale. C'est une agression frontale, une déclaration de guerre qui ne se cache plus derrière.
It's a frontal aggression, a declaration of war, which no longer hides itself behind
des artifices diplomatiques.
Mr. President.
Behind diplomacy maneuvers. Okay, let's see. I think Rwanda is speaking.
The situation we are facing today is no surprise to anyone. It mirrors the same situation 12 years ago. It is the result of the complete mismanagement by the DRC of a complex problem. The international community also has its fair share of the blame for being completely insensitive to the root causes of the problem and allow legitimate actors to operate completely out of their mandate.
It's a shame so many people.
Now, yeah, so as you have seen, Rwanda is saying it's also giving the blame. He did not deny, the Rwandan representative in the UN did not deny that the Rwandan force did not back M23. So he was just speaking, oh, this has been going on since 2012, and the international community also has a part or a responsibility in it. Just to give you a quick background, there was a peacekeeping mission. I mean, in the past decades, DRC has not been in rest for the past 6 decades, ever since their independence, because basically it's also a tactic or a system that it has been kept like this because, all those people, individuals, governments, all actors who are looting the minerals or the resources of DRC can do so. So they want that country to stay in conflict. So now, there was a peacekeeping mission, and Tshisekedi, the president of DRC, have asked for that troops to leave, and they were leaving, I think, piece by piece. And there was also the African Union peacekeeping mission there, the Eastern African community, the African Union, and then the Eastern African community. Also, the DRC president has asked the Eastern African community peacekeeping mission to leave the country, and they brought the Southern African Development Community, the SADC peacekeeping mission, which, I mean, mind you, DRC belongs to the Eastern African community, not to the Southern African community. So they brought the Southern African community. For some reason, they did not trust the Eastern African community. Both Rwanda and DRC belong in the Eastern African community. Now, the SADC is there, which is the Southern African Development Community peacekeeping mission. And this, I mean, it's also in front of there is also the UN peacekeeping mission there. It's in front of their eyes. This is unfolding, that the Rwandan forces is crossing the border of DRC and occupying these major cities. In fact, so far, 17 casualties happened, and I think 13 of them are from the international peacekeeping mission. I don't know if from the SADC also have died. But earlier today, we have heard that Julius Malema, the economic freedom fighters, political party in South Africa, he said that the SADC peacekeeping mission in in DRC was not capacitated, like deliberately. I don't know why SADC is doing that, but yeah, that's what Julius Malema said. Now let's hear what William Ruto said.
I thank both President Tshisekedi and President Kagame for their confirmed participation in this summit. Additionally, the African Union must not remain passive in the face of this escalating crisis. The East African community stands ready to forge a stronger collaboration with the African Union and SADC, as well as the international community in encouraging the warring parties to prioritize engagement.
I don't care what you're doing, you need to stop and listen to this.
Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, but so now the question is, he said he thanked both of them, that he spoke to both leaders, meaning Kagame and Tshisekedi, and they have confirmed their attendance for the Wednesday meeting. I mean, 48 hours is really long. We don't know what's going to happen. But I tell you what, will they attend that meeting? I think it's now in the interest of Tshisekedi for sure, because now DRC wants to maneuver, it's to find its way how to bring to an end to this conflict. And this is a good platform for him to present the case to the neighboring countries or to the regional bloc that DRC belongs to. That is one. Second, for Paul Kagame of Rwanda, now this is what they want. They have occupied the regional city, the regional capital, Goma. This is exactly what they wanted. So they can negotiate after having something. Now they have something important in their hand. So perhaps he might show up or he might not show up. If he doesn't show up, I mean, he might show up because now also the second reason is that not only because he has now something important to negotiate for, but also now Rwanda has been put in the spotlight, so he has to come and defend himself. But I mean, for him, it's 50-50. But for Tshisekedi, this is definitely, I mean, this is the only option. So I think he will show up. And this is the only platform, for DRC, and for both of them actually to sit down together and present their case and see what the regional bloc also rules out. I'm not hoping really there will be so much, something that's going to stop the war, really, what is going on. But we will see. Here, Ginger Fox pointed on the chat section that Tshisekedi has made a surprise call to President Putin. Was it last week? So it's not a surprise. I mean, Tshisekedi has been playing between the West to Russia to China. I mean, he seems confused. I don't know, this is maybe strategical, but we don't know really with who DRC or the government of DRC is aligning with. And also we saw him condemning France, now that the Western part is kind of pretending to be on the DRC side in this United Nations Security Council meeting. So we don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen really. I mean, that call is probably to get a support, military support or anything from Russia, but we will see. Russia so far did not say anything, but many say that, I mean, the Rwandan government is in a very, very good terms with the Western government. So I really don't know if there will be a sanction or something against Rwanda, although none of those Western countries are not going to deny that Rwanda is responsible or backing the M23 rebels, but I don't think there would be a harsh measure against Rwanda. So it's all like time will tell. But yeah, let us know in the comment section what do you think of this. And as we, dig more on this situation, we will try to bring you also analysts from the place as well, from DRC, and hear what they have to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, continue to share your view. You may support us through our PayPal account and our Buy Me a Coffee link. You can find it in the description section. Share the video with others. That will be also a great support. Dejuma, hello. It has been a while. Hasn't Kagame been there breeding? Yeah, this is definitely very bad. Yeah, as you all, I think most of you have been following what is going on. But I think for me, the mask of Rwanda, finally, it has been and Rwanda has been unmasked now. So let's see how it is going to defend itself. What will be the next step? It's a bye-bye from me for now, and I will see you on the next one.